Okay. Good morning. It is me, Dr. Donna, and I am ready to start the live. I had to do some other things behind the scenes because my phone is not cooperating with the app. Android, they did an update. Now Android ain't Androiding it. We're going to start with 3 emotional breaths, 3 regulated breaths. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, and exhale on my descending count of 3, 2, 1. Greetings, Daisy. 3, 2, 1. Okay, here are the levels to going from an untrained, dysregulated survival brain to an excellent brain where there is emotional neutrality in your SGACC. You start at level 1 with 7 consecutive days of 60-second Neuro Reps. After successful completion of that, you will level up to level 2, where you will still remain on Instagram for 30 more consecutive days of 60-second Neuro Reps, one at a time. After 30 consecutive days at level 2, you can then level up to level 3, which is here on YouTube, where you will spend 90 consecutive days doing advanced Neuro Reps. Upon completion of those successfully, you will then level up to level 4, where you will spend 180 consecutive days doing advanced Neuro Reps, as well as inculcating the 74 principles of real leadership for a total of 307 days. That is necessary to take your untrained, dysregulated, survival comfort-seeking brain to a level to start to become excellent. So you're ready, you're prepared for excellence at level 5, which is RL programs or real leader resources. That is the process. You start on Instagram at level 1, and within 307 days at a minimum, or it could be a maximum if you have any restarts, then you make it to level 5. Those are the levels. Now let me get to my other graphic for today, which is what we will be talking about. We are talking about the ACC plus the OFC, the anterior cingulate cortex and the orbital frontal cortex, and inculcating the principle of real leadership. Failure is not an option. All right. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Donna Louise Thomas-Rodgers. I am the daughter of Leslie Darnell Thomas, granddaughter of Arthur Jethro Evelyn II, and great-granddaughter from Levi Thomas. Legion 4Q, you can stick around and determine if this is for you. So yesterday, the live ended abruptly, and I didn't know what took place. And for those of you who are on TikTok, this is your second time hearing this. And so what happened is YouTube said, nope, and took the live. Good morning. So I went back live to close it out. And then this morning I got a notification that they reviewed my live, and I said some things that would not bode well for certain advertisers. So my ad revenue for that live would be limited because of whatever I said. And so they also asked me, did I want to appeal? And I said, absolutely not. I said what I said. I don't know what I said, but whatever I said, I ain't recanting it. And it's okay. I got 12,700 and something YouTube videos, and I'm cool with that. But what happened was I had to get a strategy, because I have a strategy for trolls, dysregulated survival of the fittest brains. But after talking to my amazing progeny, what she told me was that these are the QEs coming for you. And we gave them that name. And the QEs are people with high IQs that believe they are very, very, very smart. And they are not. They just got high IQs. Smart is not, intelligence is measured different from smart. Smart, you can grow and become smarter. IQ is just something that you're naturally born with. And so what has happened is that group has come to try to play Stump the Teacher. And I was unaware of that. So I had them in the wrong category in my brain. So I was using the troll strategy for a different classification of people. And so I'm grateful to that person yesterday, because now I have a strategy for the QEs. And here is that strategy. When someone presents themselves as an expert, And they have done that with all of their rhetoric and all of their information that they have. And they want to let me know, as if I'm not an educator and I don't already know. They are attempting to throw me off of my intellectual square. And so, good morning. As a result, I needed a strategy. And so, here is the strategy going forward on any of my lives. So, here we have this handy dandy graphic that Chad and I created yesterday. And it is this: it is a credential check. So, in the event that a expert, thought leader, podcaster, anything else from an IQ perspective comes, like the psychiatrist that said, this is a lot to unpack. And Emmanuel telling me all about DBT. And the person yesterday with the proteins and lion's mane and everything else. I am going to say credential check. And for the actual students here, you will know what I am referencing. And I'm going to I have 3 different versions of this slide. So I'm going to put one of these graphics up for the QEs. This is especially for them. And in order for them, because when I was in the military, I used to do PT as an HHG commander. If we didn't get a good enough workout, I would say, yes, instructor. Then I would go to the front of the company and I would take over. And then we would have extra flutter kicks and side straddle hops and all of that to give them a nice little sweat. Make sure we got our heart rate up. And then I would go back to the back of the formation. And so now, in order for someone to provide their expertise, because leverage experts is one of the 74 principles of real leadership, they will need to meet all 3 of these criterions. There's 3 green check marks there. Number 1, because I'm an educator, what is your doctorate in? So when the experts, these Q people, come along and think that they're just going to start saying things to stump the teacher, we're doing a credential check, because I need to know if I'm talking to a peer. So what is your doctorate in? What was the topic of your dissertation? And what are you currently researching? What are you currently working on? And if you don't meet 1, 2, 3, you will go away from this live that you see. They will go away. I will unlist the channel for them and they will not be returning. Now, what this solves is a lot, because I had them in the wrong category and I didn't have an actual strategy for them. But you had to wake up early one morning on a Saturday in 1972 to pull one over on me when I know what's actually happening. So this is going to stop them in their tracks, because this is not what high IQ people are used to. They're accustomed to being able to say whatever they want, talk about a white paper that they read from somebody else that wrote something else, and it's not peer reviewed. And they get all these little IQ standards that I absolutely don't care about, because my work is in actual real time in real life with real adults, not in a lab with a pen and a pad in a lecture hall or in an office with a patient sitting on a couch. I am not them and they are not me. And they need to understand, you came to my live. You came to my virtual classroom. So you will put some respect on my work and you will identify yourself. Stop. Halt. Who are you? And if you cannot answer these 3 questions, you are going to be removed. You are going to be removed because you are a disruption. Now, if you can answer all 3 of these questions, we will listen with caution to ensure that you are who you say you are. But you are not identifying yourself. You're coming with someone else's paperwork. And that just doesn't work. Try to get on an airplane with somebody else's ID. You're not getting on that airplane. Try to go and do something and you're not who you say you are. So I'm not interested in what you read. I read a bunch of books. That doesn't make me a New York Times bestseller author because I read New York Times bestselling books. So this whole notion that because you read some work by someone else in a theoretical capacity does not mean that that's going to work over here. And it is a disruption. And I will not have my live stopped because of an unintelligent person trying to present themselves as an educator and not be an actual educator in a field that has been recognized. Because what these QEs keep saying is this nonsense about peer review. I'm Dr. Donna Louise Thomas-Rodgers. My work was peer reviewed when I did my dissertation. I graduated with a doctorate in organizational leadership. I have a doctorate in the thing that I do. What you mean peer review? Who's revering my work when they're not doing real world work? So this whole notion of an uneducated, non-doctorate holding person telling me who reviewed my work, who are you? Who are you? So they will identify themselves or they will go away. Now I have a strategy for them. I didn't know who they were. I didn't know what threat they were actually bringing towards me. So now I know, and you have to go. I'm not proposing a method. I understand what you're saying, but the proposing part is not a proposing, it's an actual standard going forward. It is the actual standard going forward. Because what I will not have is somebody with a high IQ thinking that they're smarter than me because they read something. So I appreciate what you're saying, and I understand for context. I use context all the time. What I am saying is people deciding, yes, people deciding that because they read something that has nothing to do, and what you're saying is people are coming over here talking about things that I'm not talking about. They're just talking. They're just literally showing, because people with high IQs got to show what they know. They're just showing off what they know. They're not contributing to what I'm talking about. They're attempting to see if I know what they're talking about. And it's not theirs. So over here, to be clear, it's personal accountability. What have you built with your 86 billion neurons? Where's yours? Is what I asked that person yesterday multiple times. Where's your work? Where's your LinkedIn profile? Where's your website? Where's your practice? Where is yours? Because we live in a world where you can just say what you want and not have your own. Well, I read. I don't care about what you read. Over here, what did you build with your 86 billion neurons? Where is your doctorate from? What school? I don't even actually care about the school. What research, what concept did you, thank you, Jerry, what concept did you have that you actually researched and completed an entire dissertation and got it approved by a committee that said, yes, this research is valid? And what are you currently researching yourself as a person with a doctorate? That's what I want to know, because if you aren't currently researching something, because I'm on my live minding my own business, and I suggest you do the same, because that's what my shirt says. Mind your own business, neuron business. Mind yours, because I'm minding mine. But there will be no more disruptions past today. So I will be doing a credential check when anyone has something to say. Anyone. Because if you can't say who you are, what your dissertation is, what your doctorate is in, and what research you're doing, then we are not peers. And you don't belong over here. You can become a student by all means. You can start on Instagram, do your 7-day Neuro Reps free trial, and work your way up. But we are not peers over here. That's the whole point, is IQ people are not expecting what they believe is non-IQ people to hold them personally accountable to have their own work. Your own work. You got to put in work over here. Where is your evidence of neural sweat equity? Where is yours? And then as I went on a second live yesterday, someone basically told me that I didn't have proof and some other stuff. And so I had to go back to, they said, well, where does your work? Where's your, well, it started on February 16th, 1987, when as a science Olympiad at 13 years old. If you must know where my first experience with the brain was, I had a 3-dimensional brain, cauliflower with food coloring on it, a two-dimensional schematic and a written report way back in 1987. So we got to go all the way back. Science Olympiad was the feeder for STEM. Any questions? That I started back then. And I've been like that ever since. And I was like that before. So what we're not going to do is decide whether I know what I'm talking about. I do. Who are you? I deeply respect that. I do self-study, cosmology research, but I won't promote my own stuff because it's still working on my own personal stuff, rather not toot a horn that isn't put together. Yes, I understand completely. And so this is a strategy for them. And it will be there going forward because I just didn't understand who they were. I thought they were a regular troll coming through, and it felt different. My insula and my ACC was registering the conflict differently, and I felt like I was being, checked. We're going to throw the teacher off the square. No, we're not. You're going to identify yourself. Who are you, and where is yours? Because if you are not a peer, get out of here. I don't have anything to say to somebody with an MBA. What I look like? Boo-boo the fool? You have an MBA. You got a master's of science. We are not the same. We are not the same at all. On no circumstances. I walk in a room and say Dr. Diamond. You got a regular name with an MS behind your name. We're not the same. You're not working on anything. And even with people with dissertations, if you don't have current research, you're going to be quiet too. Because someone has to hold them personally accountable. And that's why I'm not refuting that video. I meant everything I said yesterday. So I'm not going to go and be like, I'm sorry, I don't. Someone came on my live spewing rhetoric that wasn't true. Today on TikTok's live, we realized that none of that, you're going to take some lion's mane for a limbic system that's ruining your life. How? The only way to actually change the brain for good is to wire new neural pathways, recode somatic markers, and rewire wires that actually worked for you. That's how you go from survival to excellent. Because I'm not sitting at success. Success is halfway there, but it's not excellent. It's not good enough, and good enough never is. It's not best. It's not above and beyond. It's not high standards. So I'm going to go back to my graphic. And if at any point, and I got 3, like I said, and at any point, if someone would like to believe that they can contribute to this process, then I will allow that. I'm always interested in learning. Always interested in learning. So for example, I'm going to use driver number 7 as an example. Now I know how to deal with a troll. Driver number 7 is saying in capital letters, take that wig off. It looks terrible. I have been live for 837 days, so I've had thousands of trolls come and say things that should lend itself to release something so that they can get some manufactured dopamine from a reaction out of me. This is something that I'm accustomed to, and I have several strategies for people like driver number 7. Doesn't bother me at all. I already took my wig off like 3 weeks ago. It looks terrible. We all know why driver number 7 is doing this. Driver number 7 doesn't know that the left and right amygdala have programmed into the basal ganglia, go trolling, so that they could get their release of manufactured dopamine for today, for the first time today, because this is going to continue to happen throughout the day. They have no idea that they have actually wired their brain to get their fix. No idea that is actually neurological. They actually believe that they have chosen to come and troll and say these things. They actually believe that they made this choice. They didn't. The brain did it. So the manifestation of typing, the brain already decided. Amy and Lala said, we need some dopamine. Go mess with people on the internet. And now here you are with your all caps on, saying things to people that you would never say to their face, because you won't even use your real name or your real photo online, which is disinhibition effect. Look it up before you go trolling again. But your brain told you to do this and you thought you did it. And the reason why we know they're of low intelligence and they have a low emotional baseline is because they're going for what is obvious. I've had this conversation with chat all the time. Go for the wig. Because I said something that triggered something in them. And so now they want to go on the defense and believe that they are saying something to hurt my feelings. It is not working. So the insults are coming from the low emotionally based of low intelligence survival brain people that couldn't even do level 1 challenge on Instagram because they need immediate gratification and they need to make somebody feel bad so they could feel better. So they can go now. And now we have a strategy for them as well as the IQ people. Okay, so today we're going to be focusing on the ACC and the OFC. And so what happens is the ACC is a conflict monitor and it detects a mismatch. It registers the error and it allocates cognitive energy to the subregions. Yesterday when that person was going back and forth and I got off live and didn't know what happened, I had conflict. Had a conversation with Nola. She said they're the QEs. I said, okay, cool. Let me go ahead and make a graphic for them. So I have a strategy. And what happens is, and I don't think I said this on this slide. So now when I show that graphic to them, first of all, they're going to know that they're not the first person to come and try to stump Dr. Donna and be unsuccessful. Second of all, I've anticipated you're going to be here. And now I have a strategy for you. And now I'm saying, do you warrant the ability to give information to the people that have come here to see what I have to say? And the answer most likely 99% of the time will be no. And it will then put them on the defense because they will have come to try to throw me off my square and it won't work. And now they have to go and look at themselves. They have to recognize that they don't have a doctorate. They didn't do a dissertation. And if they did those two, that they're not currently doing research, which shows that they're not like that. And then I'm finished. And word on the street will be, don't go over there. And then they'll stop. They will understand that dog don't hunt over here. So that's the objective. All you need, that's why I tell y'all, don't do anything without a why and a strategy. The Art of War is my favorite book because attack by stratagem is one of the principles. I just needed a strategy for it. That's why the person talking about the hair, it didn't work. And theirs, because I felt the friction and the combativeness. And I was like, because I just needed a strategy that I implement every time. And now I have that. And so they will go away, or we will get some, it's a win-win. They're either going to go away or we're going to get some information about the brain that we didn't have before. So it detects the mismatch. The dorsal ACC is the task conflict performance correction. There was conflict, so I had to correct this going forward. The cognitive ACC is the internal narrative conflict. So I'm thinking about this, what is taking place. And then the ventral ACC and the SGACC are the emotional baseline. So I was still cool as the other side of the pillow yesterday, but I was irritated for the third or fourth time that this has took place. So I was like, this is a trend. I need to do something about this so that this can end. Now, the orbital frontal cortex is the value and consequence calculator. It predicts outcomes. It assigns reward and punishment value and adjusts behaviors based upon feedback. So together, the ACC says something is off and the OFC says, here's what this will cost or earn you. So what it will cost me is energy if I allow this personality type to keep showing up saying stuff. And what it will earn me is now I have a system in place. So they show up and they will either give us information or they will go away. But I won't have this thing hanging out here in this kind of battle of back and forth. And when you really think about the absurdity of this. So again, just so we close that out, because we're going to go into dysregulated brain. ACC says something is off. The OFC says, what is this going to cost me? Or what am I going to earn from this? And let me just walk everybody through the absurdity of this. I'm here on my live with a brain t-shirt on and a graphic in the back. I obviously have a whole agenda for what I'm doing. And some rando comes in and disrupts what I'm saying while I'm saying what I'm saying. It's a very calm environment. If you read the comments, people are answering questions. You can see the structure in this process. It's not some live where people are typing stuff, I love you. It's a very structured online learning environment. And then here comes this random person with critique or criticism about what I'm saying. They haven't identified themselves. They haven't raised their virtual hand. May I say something? May I interject? Nothing. So if we were in a lecture hall, imagine if a person just came running down the stairs of the lecture hall and pushed me out the way and started teaching about a subject that we're not talking about. I'm talking about the brain. They start coming and talk about art and Picasso. You're like, they talk about psychology. I'm talking about neuroscience and leadership. So what has happened is they felt something, identity protection. They felt threatened by what I said. And because the brain is in survival mode, they decided that Amy and Lala decided we're going to attack her. And we're going to refute what she's saying. We're going to throw her, do some deflection. Now, I find it interesting that that person called me a narcissist about 7 times. Nothing. But whatever I said was a problem. Okay, cool. So I decided this has to end. But that makes no sense. But in a dysregulated survival brain system, you literally can do that now, and that's considered acceptable. Why? Why would that be acceptable? I'm minding my own business on my live, and they've said, well, it's a free internet, and we can come and do all this. Why? Why wouldn't you just go where people are arguing back and forth? Why did you pick a platform where there is no conflict? Why did you do that? Because it's not working. No, I had to do it from my tablet. Because the dysregulated brain said this is we can do this. Because we're lowering the standard, as I talked about on TikTok. The standard is not excellence for people going live. The standard is success. And now they've created a system where if you go back and forth, the comments are the comments. And when you get off, it says how many comments. You got people, that friction, that conflict that people have is watchable. So people are programmed to hurry up and come in and create this conflict so we can all get our dopamine release. And they haven't even assessed if this is that environment, because it's actually not. So here they come. First thing, wig. You stupid, you ugly, or you a boy or a girl, just automatically, so they can go back and forth with the host. And everybody has accepted that as normal. And now that you've heard it objectively, isn't that the behavior of people with low emotional baseline? Low emotional, just come in and interrupt, not even say, excuse me, may I say something? Good morning, what's this? Not just start talking, start typing. That's a dysregulated system. So the system in it, and that's why everybody's like, why is she blocking people? Why is we can say whatever we want. No, you cannot, because there's a standard of excellence over here. No, you cannot. That's a low standard. And so the people are successful because of the watch rate, the watch time. I had 8,000 views on my video. And then what did people do after they watched the video? Nothing. I had 500 views on my video. And then people went to go talk about the brain. That's a better standard because they took action. It's a standard of excellence versus success. I literally had somebody yesterday email me, and I get these emails quite often. They emailed me, showed me my one video TikTok live that I posted. It had 1 or 2 views, and they used it and put it in there and told me it wasn't going to rank and SEO and all this stuff. And normally I respond in various different ways because it's a terrible sales pitch. So for yesterday, I sent them 20 questions. Various questions about how many followers do I have? How many Jiffy views do I have? What my 3 degrees in, and all this. The 20 questions back. And that person doubled down and sent me some more information talking about I could have 50 million views. They could get me ranked and all this stuff. We know it's the topic. But that person didn't even take the time to even actually assess me. Because the assumption is, if you and people have said this, well, you're on social media to get views. I'm not. I said, what is the purpose of my channel? Why am I on YouTube? And no one has asked me that. I am 12 and a half years on this channel. I have 12,700 and some odd videos on this channel. I've had multiple times to monetize this channel and haven't done it until now. Because that is not my objective. That is not my objective. It's views so you can get brand deals, so you can get a bag. It's not my objective. But that's what everybody else believes it is. So I have to be very clear about why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I don't do anything without a strategy, because that conflict is there. Well, you need a bunch of views. Why? Who made that the standard? A bunch of views means what? People watched it and took no action whatsoever. How is that success? Well, it is success. But how is that excellence? If my measurement is people using what I'm saying to become their best, that's my measurement. So if 4 people use it, then I'm at excellence. If 1 million people watch it and nobody uses it, that's success, and that's not excellent. That's why I don't use what everybody else is using. That's why there are standards to being over here. Set and maintain high standards is one of the 74 principles of real leadership, and you will behave in that capacity or you will be removed from this environment. So in summation, now that I have a strategy for them, and somebody else may show up and I'll need a strategy for them, the objective is to present information to you every day, to take an untrained brain that is focused on survival and comfort and give you the opportunity to become excellent. That's the objective. So if there are 4 people here, if there are 100 people here, if there are 1 million people here, the objective is for you to do what I'm saying do, so you can be excellent too. Now, in a dysregulated brain, here is when failure feels acceptable, because failure is not an option as one of the 74 principles of real leadership. But in a dysregulated brain, it can become optional and maybe even become optimal. So the ACC overfires emotionally. And that means that your SGACC has a low emotional baseline. It avoids effort when discomfort rises. That friction, in order to be excellent, goes away. And it labels resistance as danger. Yeah, they want you to read 12 books. You know, if you do reading too much, I got these readers now, and if you read a lot, they say you could go blind. Anybody said that? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I didn't want to be too smart, because then, I don't want to make my friends feel bad. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to opt out. I'm not going to do that. Really now? Okay. They said it was going to take 4 years to get a degree. Really? Yeah, man, that's a long time. What else you going to be doing for 4 years? Well, I ain't going to be doing that. Got it. The OFC overvalues short-term relief. Yeah, man, 4 years, that's a long time, man. That's a long time. I hear you. Yeah, let's just go ahead and go to the buffet and eat. Yeah, let's just sit here and watch a podcast. I mean, you can learn just as much from a podcast as you can from college. Like, and you ain't got to be there for 4 years. I leave with a podcast. I'm watching alpha males right now. I'm watching bitches be like that right now. We boss bitches up in here. And they teaching me a lot. Undervalues long-term excellence. I mean, really, 4 years? Why take 10 years? Why they want you to be at the job for 2 years before you can get promoted? Who's staying at the job that long? Predicts exaggerated social threats. Yeah, man, people don't think I'm a simp. I'm over here doing that, walking around doing all that nerd shit, studying the brain. Ain't nobody got time. She crazy as hell over there. I ain't about to do that. We good over here. We good. We definitely, look at us. We doing good. Life is good. We over here chilling. So here's a real life example. You miss a deadline, and your dACC detects the error. That's your dorsal ACC. The orbital frontal cortex calculates. This ain't that serious. The SGACC shifts emotional baseline downward, lower than low. And what you start doing? Rationalizing. You rational. Man, it wasn't that serious. 8 o'clock p.m. Like, she wants you to turn your shit in every day at 8 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm on the East Coast. That's 11 o'clock p.m. I mean, for real. Like she want me to turn it in before 11 o'clock p.m. my time. Yeah, I wake up at 7 o'clock. Yeah, that's longer than 17 hours. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like 11 p.m. It gotta be in by 11. It can't be 11:01. But you gotta start over. Ain't nobody got time for that. So failure becomes negotiable. Hey, Doc, missed the deadline. You know what I'm saying? I was doing some shit. Really? Okay, well, you can start back over day one tomorrow. That's dysregulation. I didn't have people try to negotiate with me about the time. And that timeline came from me working at Frito-Lay. 1 minute late is half a point. It's in the employee handbook and union contract. Y'all voted for it. 1 minute late is 1 minute late. I told people, just come in and clock in early. I will adjust your chronos. Go sit in the break room for 10 minutes. Don't be late. Somebody got fired for being late. And everybody got mad at me because he got fired. I said, he the one didn't come to work. Y'all should be mad at him. Y'all lost a good employee. Y'all friend ain't here no more. Y'all didn't tell him to come to work on time. I did. Y'all didn't pick him up, make sure he got here on time. So it's y'all fault he fired. You ain't gonna put that on me. So the dysregulated brain downplays everything. That shouldn't be. A regulated brain knows that failure is not an option, and it detects conflict early. 4 people came to my live telling me I don't know what I'm talking about and talking about other stuff. That's early. Now I got a graphic and a strategy for them. Allocates effort immediately. I was talking to Nola, making my graphic in chat. Here are my questions. Here is what I wanted to say. And does not personalize resistance. I don't do that. Ain't coming against me. Ain't doing this. Why is this happening to me? I just wanted to know what happened so I could develop a strategy so it wouldn't happen again. Now I know. Got a whole strategy in place. The OFC overweighs long-term identity. I'm looking at the blank blank app and me becoming a Nobel laureate. I'm not about to be concerned with a QE talking about some doggone what is it, the pills or whatever it was, lion's mane and protein pills, whatever it was. I don't care about a white paper. I don't care about a report that's sitting somewhere in some scientific journal. I'm bigger than that. Predicts future consequences accurately. If I don't develop a strategy for this new group of people disrupting my live, I could potentially have another live stop because I'm saying something to them. I need a strategy so y'all can have this information every day. And I update the behavior fast. Yesterday, I didn't have a strategy. Less than 24 hours later, I got a strategy. I would say that's fast because I had it in place because our appointment was at 10. So I had to have it in place by 9 o'clock. Yesterday, ready to go. As soon as I uploaded the Neuro Reps, now I got me a graphic. 3 versions of that graphic. That's correct. So here's a real life example again with a regulated brain. You miss a deadline. The dACC detects the error. The OFC calculates. This damages the standard. So Jared says, I blew it. He missed the timeline because he fell asleep after a good meal. He said, I blew it, and he still put his work in that day and started the next day over. That's what a regulated brain does. The CACC aligns the identity. I blew it. And I told him, word choice matters. Change that to, I missed the deadline. Because that's all that happened. He didn't blow it. He just missed the deadline. And effort is reallocated immediately. Still turn it in. Tomorrow is day 1. So correction is greater than emotion in a regulated brain. I corrected. Yes, Jared. I corrected what was taking place and said, I don't want to feel like this anymore when someone is coming. But I had to identify what it was that they were doing. But I noticed it in my insula and my ACC. What in the heck is this? Why do they keep coming with this, what appears to be intellectual information that is just rhetoric in my ears? It's just, I'm reading it and I'm like, this doesn't match. There was this mismatch. There's conflict. Brenda Jones is like, what is this nonsense? So failure is not emotional. Failure is structural. That's why over here it's not an option. Okay, that happened. Move on. Bada boom, bada bing. But when you have a low emotional base and your brain is wired for survival and comfort and safety, the first sign of it, you retreat. And you don't go back out there for a long time, if ever. And then you start excuse lying about your whole existence, about why you are stuck in a rut and you can't get your big butt up. Because people that are stuck are overweight. Because stress eating. That's what you're saying. And now you got every excuse in the book other than I am unwilling to have the friction that it takes to create a high functioning brain with a neutral dACC. Because that's the reality of the situation. So the neural handshake. When regulated, the ACC detects, the OFC evaluates, the ACC reallocates the effort, the OFC recalibrates the value. Jerry said, I blew it. I missed the deadline. Let me set an alarm so I could turn in my Neuro Rep sooner, and he ain't been close to the submission timeline since then. The baseline remains neutral, and the behavior adjusts. The behavior adjusts so that you can be successful, because the main thing is the main thing. A high-functioning, calibrated brain with a neutral emotional dACC. So you can be excellent in everything that you do. So you can't let one deadline miss. You can't let one person who thinks they're smarter than you stop you from elevating to the blank blank app and becoming a Nobel laureate. So the identity installation is this. Failure is not an option, does not mean you're never going to make a mistake. You are. It does not mean no learning, because that's what happens when you have a survival of the fittest brain. You ain't learning nothing new, because all of that is going to be discomfort and friction to you. And it is no iteration. You just that, oh, I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to reiterate this again. It's not happening. So it means when error is detected, correction is automatic. Error. Person coming saying crazy things. Live gets taken. What's happening? Oh, okay, I got it. Here's my strategy. And the ACC must not negotiate ever, ever, ever. That's why I have a graphic now. And the OFC must not discount. You discounting stuff. That's how come you are dysregulated. That's how come you're in survival mode, because you discounted your ability to learn and grow. You discounted the fact that you got 86 billion neurons. You lowered the standard and you stayed stuck where you are. And now you want to celebrate your regularness and act like you did that on purpose. Go to an elementary school right now. Ask the kids what they want to be when they grow up. No one is going to say an average regular adult that nobody knows and don't do anything. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen at all. That's not what they're going to say. I want to be a lawyer, a doctor, I want to be an influencer, I want to be a basketball player, I want to be a lot of money. And then life shows up. And you actually got to start doing the neurological work to make that happen. And then now you start lowering the strategy. You start discounting everything. So here's your Neuro Rep for today. Today, you're going to identify one task that you have delayed. You're going to start it immediately. You're going to complete it without emotional commentary. I told y'all I got a gag reflux, and I am watching her take these brains out of here. And the whole time I'm taking writing my notes. Knowing, I just eat, give myself 30 minutes so my lunch don't come up, my breakfast, and I am writing away because I need that information. I need to know what she has to say. So you're going to complete it without emotional commentary. And then when you're done, you're going to type you're done, what happened before, during, and after, and any of your takeaways. Because what you're doing is you are training the dural ACC, rapid conflict response. Something happens, forget it. I got to get this done. Failure is not an option. I got to finish these 10 modules. The OFC, long-term valuation dominance. I have to be able to study the brain, master the brain, and teach others how to do the same. That's how the people in the world will forever be changed. So if I gotta stop it, pause, eat some salt to get this information, and so be it, because failure is not an option. If I have to have a graphic and send someone through an interview process to find out who they are in order for me to continue on with my life, the word on the street is don't go over there talking stuff, because you're going to have to come with some credentials. It's a credential check. So my dACC is neutral, because that's where the stability lies. And then the basal ganglia is always in execution automation. It's time to get this done. I don't care how I feel. Ain't none of that got nothing to do with failure. It's not an option. So no story, no justification, no emotional processing. That's what people do at a low emotional baseline. Correction, execution, and completion. And here's the summation for this part of the lie. In a dysregulated brain, failure is negotiable. In a dysregulated brain, failure is negotiable. In a regulated brain, failure is feedback, and correction is immediate, and standards remain intact. The ACC plus the OFC equals behavioral integrity, and that's real leadership. Now, hopefully y'all haven't typed anything and YouTube is doing the right thing. So now we're going to talk about the brain bit. Let me change my graphic out. Green screen. All right. Okay, great. Thank you for typing, Jared. So green screen. I mean, not green screen. The green pen brain. The green pen brain is the part of you that reviews your own thinking before the world does. It's the part of you that reviews your own thinking before the world does. It's not the red pen that attacks. It's not the highlighter that praises. The green pen is the one that adjusts, refines, and upgrades. Green means edit without emotion, correct without shame, improve without drama, and upgrade without announcing. This is a regulated ACC plus the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. It's a partnership working together. And so the ACC detects the error or the misalignment. The dorsolateral prefrontal cortex calmly corrects it. And the SGACC stays neutral instead of dropping into I messed up. The green pen brain doesn't spiral. It doesn't defend and it doesn't perform. It simply says adjustment noted, update applied. And that's executive regulation in real time. Now here are your two questions for today. What did you learn today? And what did you learn about yourself? And if you are going to be responding, you type an ellipse, a brain, a thinking emoji, a buffering, something of that sort to let me know that you are going to be responding. And drink water, because I didn't even say that. I went straight into the QEs. But the lives are sponsored by water, so go ahead at this time and drink water because this was a mental workout. And believe it or not, you're thirsty. So Jared is thinking, Daisy is thinking, Lacey is thinking. And Jared is drinking water. And the purpose of these questions, they have several purposes. Number one, what did you learn today is you wake up every day because you are primed for excellence to learn something every day. Charlie Munger, rest in peace, said, go to sleep wiser than you were when you woke up. Smarter in this case. More neural pathways, no less thinking. That's the first question. The second question is, what did you learn about yourself today? Self-reflection happens in the default mode network. Now, in an untrained, dysregulated survival brain, what happens in the default mode network? That's when you're by yourself or conducting routine tasks. Anytime you're not online with your brain actively doing something, performing implicit tasks, routine tasks, your brain will daydream, mind wander, and ruminate. But when you are high functioning and focused on excellence, you will use that time to self-reflect. And that is what that question is building. What did you learn about yourself today? And the reason why you put a emoji, ellipse, brain, thinking emoji, buffering sign, any of those things is because what you are training is the inhibition control and the executive function of your brain that you're going to delay a response. And that is going to regulate the limbic system and strengthen the prefrontal cortex. It also allows you to self-reflect and think before you respond. So Daisy's first answer is, I learned today that stumping the teacher with no back info is not an excellent best. Right. It's not gonna work. It's no brainer. That's for sure. That dog don't hunt. And that's why you need an emotional neutrality. Because if I had a low emotional base, then I would have just said, I'm ready for these mofos today. But now I have a whole complete strategy that doesn't disrupt the learning environment, ensures that I will get to the end of my life and that I will continue to do what I came here to do. And will also stop them from coming over here with some rhetoric. Because they definitely are not used to being challenged. Especially when they think, the problem is they thought they were smarter than me. Because they misread the room. They used the wrong social cues. Lacey said, I learned today that strategy is not emotional, it's structure. Yes, that's why you don't. Be objective is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. You don't do anything without a why or strategy. If you find yourself being emotional, I learned this in Al-Anon, sit on your hands. Don't do anything until that cortisol has left your prefrontal cortex and you are calm, cool, and collected. You are emotionally neutral. Jared said, I learned today that you need receipts to have input on Dr. Donna's live. You do. You need 3 very big receipts. You do. You need credentials. We're going to do a credential check. And they're either going to let us learn something or they're going to leave. Learn or leave. And both are okay with me. I start laughing. No, she said, those are the Kiwis. I was cracking. I said, the Kiwis? She said, I have elevated to the level to get their attention. So here they come. I was going to say something about the live checklist. Okay, go ahead. What was it? What live checklist? This one? Or the credential, check their credentials. You want me to put it back up? The credential check. Yeah, the credential checklist. There we go. Check instead of tap in. No? Okay, I'm confused. No, was I? If it wasn't done. I can leave that up there. Let me know, because y'all need to answer your questions. Okay. Got it. So yeah, real leaders reflect daily. Meeting like a Sunday morning. Yeah. Go ahead and drink water one more time before we go. Noah said, I wasn't going to say anything about the checklist. Then everyone else did, so I did too. Okay, got it. It's very effective. And these are things that you cannot do with a dysregulated brain or sitting at success with a low emotional baseline. You can only think so far. And that's it. Because you don't have enough cognition. Your prefrontal cortex isn't strong enough to outthink this. You got to be smarter than the average bear if you're going to go get these picnic baskets. I learned about myself. I don't sweat failure anymore. Learn from it and move on. That is absolutely 100% factually based, my amazing offspring. Daisy said, I learned about myself today that my dACC is assisting with my everyday excellence. That's awesome. Emotional neutrality is the business. That's the new flex. Normalize it. That's what you can do. Jerry said, I learned about myself today that quitting is no longer part of my story. Well, hey, listen, everybody give Jared a hand clap for that, because Lazy J is out of the way. Jay the finisher is on the scene. That is amazing. Quitting is not an option. Well, quitters never win. Failure is not an option. That's big. That is hunormic for you, Jarrett. Muy bueno. What about the rest of y'all that's over here looking and listening and y'all not learning? My pleasure. Y'all, the rest of y'all just looking. Like, I'm over here. She can't tell me. She can't make me type nothing. I'm going to just listen like I always do. You cannot get the release of the natural dopamine if you don't answer the question. It won't close the reward loop in your nucleus accumbens. It's just going to be out there floating around. You gotta close the loop. Close the loop. Yeah. I'll make that a highlight. All right. Is that everybody? No, you got to do your second one. And Lacey, I don't see your second one either. Comments getting quiet over here. Hey, comments, you sure are quiet. We used to, that was one of our cheers back in the day when I was in high school. I told y'all that we had that cheer. That's all right. That's okay. Because we got better GPAs. That's what some nerds will say for you at a basketball game if we was losing. I read it too, Nola. Your second one? Okay. Okay, I got it. All right. Lacey said, today I learned, and close the loop. Today I learned I must raise and stabilize my standards. Failure will not be an option, and lowering my goal has been a failed strategy that has kept me stuck. Whew. Yes, we said that. And we also used to say, Cass is number one. That's what I said. So treat me like a Buddha and bow your head. And we were the technicians. We still are. And so we had this other cheer. I don't know why I'm saying this. We was like, we are the mighty, mighty technicians. We don't give a hoot about you. Imagine hundreds of nerds in the gym saying that. Yep. Okay. All right. I think everybody has answered their questions for the day. So the moral of the story is this, ladies and gentlemen. When you are coming against dysregulated, low-level survival thinking brains, your objective is to stay neutral. Your objective is to take everything in, go away in a quiet corner and assess the conflict, use your ACC and your OFC, and develop a strategy that works for you and thee. That's what you do. Because the one thing about a dysregulated brain, it's not expecting you to have a strategy. It's expecting you to be dysregulated too. That's why trolling doesn't work. It's not effective over here because I am excellent. Because I am neutral in my emotions. It doesn't bode well for them. That's why they're confused. Why am I getting blocked? Why is she now going ham and burger on me? Because you started it. And that's just an example. But in your day-to-day life, when you are getting excitable, you got to ask yourself, why am I getting excitable? Why am I getting excitable? You don't want to be excitable. So before we get out of here today, we're going to do our 1 minute of peace. So I'm going to roll this around so you can just see the real leader check-in questions. Matter of fact, let me change the graphic first to this last graphic that I didn't show. And for 1 minute, I'm going to count you in. And for 1 minute, you're just going to sit in peace. 3, 2, 1. All right. I know this is itching. That's what a regulated, neutral SGACC, subgenual ACC, anterior cingulate cortex, feels like. And you need that reference point. So when you don't feel that, you know that you've lowered and went to a low emotional baseline. If you start feeling it consistently. Now you are going to feel feelings. You might feel anger and happiness and joy and all those things, but then you come back, you assess the feeling. Why am I feeling this? What am I feeling? Why am I feeling this? And what am I getting ready to do about it? And then you get back to neutral. You get back to neutral. You never, ever, ever need to live at a low emotional baseline. And if people around you are causing you to live in that low emotional baseline, they got to go so you can grow. Grow continually is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. Yes, your brain was hardwired for survival and negativity bias. But we are so far from that time frame when that was necessary. DIYing is how you get to excellence. It's your brain. You have to wire it for excellence. And that's a personal choice that you make. And you have the choice to not do it. But be honest about it. Be honest and say, I don't want all that friction. I don't want to wake up every day striving for excellence. I don't want to strengthen my prefrontal cortex. I don't want to have emotional regulation. I want my limbic system running my whole life and be regular, degular, schmegular. Just say that and be honest. Don't do credit and blame. Be honest and don't live your life in shame. That's what you can do. Be honest about it. And then sit with that every day. And I guarantee you, you're going to be on your way. I know you are not about to say that every single day and then sleep like a baby at night. When you're honest, don't lie. I didn't go for that promotion at the job because I don't have computer skills. Because when it was time to learn a computer, I was kicking it in the streets. That's what you can say. Because then you can do something about it. But as long as you're lying to yourself, and you are making it seem like a lower standard is the standard that you have for your life, you didn't. Just go back to elementary school. Go back to a time when you believed that something was possible for you, because can makes the impossible possible. When you thought it was possible and now it's not, what changed? What made you stop thinking that it was possible? I'm going to have, only thing that's stopping me from having a blank blank app and being a Nobel laureate is death. That's the only thing that's stopping me. Other than that, I get up every day knowing that that's the main thing for me. And you're getting up, if you're not in one of these levels of real leadership, you're getting up accepting average or success as if excellence isn't possible when you have 86 billion neurons in your amazing brain. And this isn't me convincing you. This is me dropping some knowledge and planting a seed in your brain. So the next time you go after something and it goes left, failure is not an option. Do not react to that situation, because when you have a why and you have a strategy, all you do is adjust the strategy when failure happens. All Jared had to do was adjust his submission time to earlier in the day and set an alarm. And now, bada boom, bada bing. He didn't stop reading. He didn't stop going to Toastmasters. He didn't stop doing Spanish. He's still playing pickleball. All that happened. He simply just missed a deadline. And he is on book number 21. It was a small, insignificant thing that he learned from and kept it pushing. So yeah, mistakes are going to happen. I still make mistakes. Got it. This is not going. It's not like I'm a neurosurgeon. I went, oh, they're simple mistakes that I'm recovering from, because that's what the brain does. A mistake shows you what didn't work, and now you have to determine what needs to work. That's all it is. So again, if this resonated with you, you can start at level 1 on Instagram. For those of you who contributed in the comment section, I am grateful to you, because I always take that information in. I can tell what's sticking, what's not sticking, make the adjustment for tomorrow. That's what we do in the Neuro Reps when you turn those in. I am assessing what's actually taking place up here inside your amazing brain. You got to be excellent. You got to be excellent, because why would you settle for anything other than excellence? Life ain't worth living if you're not going to be excellent. That's the truth. 1000%, 10 toes down, bet on your brain. That's the best investment that you will ever make, or the best bet that you will ever make is betting on you. God willing, higher power in the universe. I will be back tomorrow. Same time, same place, safe space. Thank you, Lacey. I think that's the mind-blowing emoji. I don't speak emoji enough to know, but I think that's what that one is. And plus it's tiny, so I can't see. It's interfering with the graphics on my shirt. Yes, ma'am. If somebody else had did it, it will be able to go up. I can see. But I will be back tomorrow, God willing, higher power and the universe. Same time, same place, safe space. Different brain t-shirt. You all go off and have a brain-tastic day. Your neural reps will be up by 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Take care. Adios.